With all its fancy gadgets, its pads and holograms, it's easy to forget that the world of Star Trek hasn't gone paperless. Of course, we still have books, and that's an obvious one, but I'm talking more about the day-to-day uses of paper that at a cursory glance have all but disappeared from Star Trek. But Star Trek actually managed to sneak regular occurrences of paper right under our noses in every era of its history. And it's not just humans who use it either. But let's go about this in an orderly fashion and start from the beginning. In the 2150s, paper isn't typically found in everyday ship duties, but paper printouts with detailed diagrams and reports are still apparently somewhat common. Furthermore, paper is still used in medical applications in the form of paper tissues and towels. Paper was also used in more specific ways, such as some form of origami and as a medium for childhood artwork. In 2154, Malcolm Reed signed his name on paper with a pen, so paper and its associated writing implements were at least common enough in a civilian setting to make this possible. In the 2250s, paper could be found as a regular fixture of daily ship activities. The bridge of the Enterprise even had a printer that produced readouts. By the 2260s, paper was still not a completely foreign sight on the ship. Captain Kirk has been spotted writing on paper as well as comparing printed computer readouts. Paper finds its way into more formal applications as well. Kirk's deposition for his court-martial in 2267 was printed on paper, which he signed with a writing implement. Also, a top-secret file folder on Talos 4 contained what appeared to be printed documents. And humans were not the only race to be using paper in this time period, as printed proclamations of the Klingon Empire were issued on Organia. Specific uses of paper in formal settings continued into 2293, where Colonel West gave a presentation for a rescue operation on large pieces of paper. By the 2360s, everyday uses of paper had apparently vanished, but some alien races were using paper in this time period, such as the people from Angel 1 and the Malkorians of Malkor 3. Paper was still used by human children as an art supply, and paper wrappings were still commonly used on gifts. We also see paper used in the form of sheet music, perhaps merely to preserve the trappings of the old styles of music that seemed so popular in this era. Now, by the 2370s, paper was clearly considered an unusual and outdated surface for writing, as experienced writer Jake Sisko claimed to have never worked on paper before, but he writes very naturally and with good handwriting, so it's easy to imagine that he's used to writing on paper to some degree. And while it doesn't occur in the prime timeline, we do see an older Jake Sisko writing extensively on paper. We also see Chakotay writing on paper, in order to have a permanent record after a computer wipe destroys all records of a particular event. And that brings to light a very practical utility of writing on paper, even in a highly technological age: data security. And that might offer us some kind of in-universe answer as to why, for instance, paper briefly comes back into regular shipboard use in the 2250s. Perhaps this was a time of increased data security, and certain documents were stored in physical form, but that's speculation, of course. We also don't know the nature of the paper we see in Star Trek. Can we imagine that the paper in the 2250s is actually a flexible Kindle-like screen? Maybe. That's fun to think about. And another thought, it's easy to assume that most, if not all, of the paper in Star Trek is replicated, but Data does seem concerned about preserving and recycling paper, which would honestly be a negligible concern if it were replicated. So it's possible that certain artisanal papers are still labor-intensive to produce and worth preserving. But that's pretty much it. Did I miss anything? Let me know in the comments, and feel free to discuss the plausibility that paper would still be relevant that far in the future in any application. But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you liked the video, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future uploads. With that, I'll see you next time.